My name is Rufus Sewell and I'm playing Lucas Roma. And right now, at present, you can tell it's been recently vacated by a lot of boozers because there's lots of classes around. We're sitting in a train from, it's an American train, very luxurious compartment. I wish they were still like this. In a New York train. And this train is just about to go to Washington with Eva Delektorskaya on it, though she has an assumed name now. I'm Rufus Sewell, and I play a character called Lucas Roma. And Lucas Roma is apparently very well bred, very gentlemanly, very well dressed, urbane, polite, charming man who is involved in espionage at the time of the Second World War and before the Second World War. He's part of a group of people who knows the war's coming, and he considers himself to be a soldier in a war that hasn't officially been declared. I think he has a very strong sense of himself. He thinks he has enormous self-control. He's motivated by lots of different forces. He is part of the upper class and yet not part of the upper class. He holds it in great esteem, and he kind of despises it at the same time, which is an interesting little friction going on with him. And he's a very, very good tactician and soldier. He's a very good chess player, and he has a heart. He might not want that to come into play very often. He likes to think he has control over it. He has emotions, but he's quite good at controlling them. One of the key things that Restless is about, as far as I'm concerned, is the whole unknown area of espionage that happened in the Second World War between England and America. It's not particularly well reported that before Pearl Harbor, when America was dragged into the Second World War, Europe was in a lot of trouble. England, was putting up a brave fight, but things were not looking good. On top of that, there's a romance that goes on between my character Lucas Roma and Eva Delektorskaya, who's a beautiful young Russian girl who he kind of trains up to be a spy, and then trains up to be English and brings her over to England. She gets a new identity, and she gets involved in this incredible world of espionage. She's very attracted to being a spy, and eventually their relationship changes and they kind of end up involved, and then a lot of other things happen that I don't really want to talk about. I mean, I'm even nervous to say this out loud, but it's very rare for me to like not only the script but also the part I'm offered in it. Normally I love the script, I'm slightly irritated with the part I've been offered, or love the part but don't think much of the script. So for all of the people involved, it's something, I loved it, and I loved the role, and I loved the fact that he was many things. Like a lot of people, I've played, sometimes get offered a lot of bad guys, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm no more interested in playing good guys than bad guys. I'm not. When I've ever said that, all I've really meant was the kind of people that only exist in second-rate fiction, which is like one facet, one side. People aren't, and this is a real person. I mean, he certainly is on paper. I mean, he's someone who is lots of things, lots of conflicting things, and I relish the opportunity to play a part like that. Because I've been hungry for something like this for a while. It doesn't conform to cheesy rules of accepted television melodrama. It's a lot more, not a lot, but it's more sophisticated than that. It has a feeling of realism about it. A lot of it is based on truth, and I just think there's a little bit of grit, and there's a humanity and a kind of multifaceted level to it. When I first spoke to Ed Hall, I said, "Can I play me older? Can I play?" And he said, He said, I wouldn't expect any less from you. Yeah, right. It's a very polite way of saying no. And I said, okay, understood. But is it going to be someone really, really good, Not to flatter myself, I just love the idea that, And when he said, it's going to be Michael Gambon, fair enough. What do you say? There's a certain thing when you first put on the clothes and you kind of think, oh yeah, that's not bad, because it's so much fun. It feels like dressing up with the hats and ties and, etc., and the old cars. But you've got to get past that because they're just clothes, It's just what people look like, 1940s. People didn't walk around going, oh my God, your trousers are amazing. They're just... But once you get used to it, I mean, it's wonderful. I've always wanted to do something that was set in this period. I've always wanted to do it for enough days in a row to stop being excited about it and get on with the work. And luckily, by the time we were filming, this just felt like clothes. It's one of the things about, wearing suits and wearing costumes. You just have to... They just have to be the clothes that you wear, because you look at footage of people in the 1940s, they're just getting on with their day. They might, no matter what they're wearing, they're not 1940s people, they're just people, And it's nice to be looking at this period from the inside out and to feel a kind of kinship with my grandmother and my grandparents when I look at those photographs. And I think, oh, I must have felt a bit like that, And it's nice. It's a nice insight you get to people in the past, to actually kind of look through their eyes, Well, today we've been shooting two scenes. One where I meet Ava at a station. She doesn't know I've asked to meet her here, and I tell her that I want her to go to Washington. I don't tell her why. I just said I've got a job for her, and she's completely taken by surprise. And because I knew she wouldn't have packed, I've got some money with me. I've got all the stuff that she's going to need, and I say step onto the train. We step onto the train, I buy her a cup of coffee, buy myself a whiskey, and I explain to her why I wanted to go to Washington, because I have a job for her. And the job involves her getting friendly with a particular man who may well be in close circles with people of great influence, and we might need him on side. The Sundance Channel is becoming involved in some really very interesting, slightly left of field television that is very, in its way commercial, but also very alternative and very interesting, just the kind of thing that I like to watch and hopefully be into. So yes, it's a good fit.